Hi there guys, old man Chris in the shop briefly. Oh dear. Well, we've had some ridiculous humid temperatures and I admit that has kept me out of here a lot, but beyond that, and you've heard this before, and I'm not after sympathy, so don't think I am, but my back has been awful on and off for 2 weeks. It's getting to the stage where I don't want surgery, I can't afford it anyway, but it's the sort of problem which I know is, you know, it's a chronic thing, and during bad spells, which have been longer than usual recently, it's just not possible to do much standing out here apart from the heat. So I think I said on the last video, you know, I'll be back when I'm back. I don't know what the time interval will be this time. There's a very hot week coming up. Plenty of you guys are suffering the same thing, if not worse. I think up here in PA we're probably better off than many. You know, it's often hitting 90 with high dew point. Anyway, that's enough of me. Sorry to mention the back again, but it does help explain you know, why I don't get out here so much. Anyway, this video is bits 11, and it is literally bits. I've thrown together just a few things that I thought might be of interest, which includes a look at an analog vernier, and as I said in the clip, I think almost everybody knows how to use the damn things, but on the basis that one or two folks don't, I threw that in, just maybe as a demo or refresher. The other things, again, odds and ends, so I apologise, no machining. What have I got in mind for later? I've actually got an RC airplane I have to convert for somebody. I built it for him about 3 years ago as a gas power, and we're converting it over to a brushless motor and so on. He's thrown it at me. He said, "Will you do that?" I said, "Well, yeah, I suppose so." At the moment I don't feel like doing it. And something else that I was going to try and get onto. Oh yes, totally outside of the shop aspect really, but when a while ago I described the Paco Kelly accurizer, the thing that you dropped onto a 22 round to get a different bullet profile. I've got a 25-pound block of clay, and I intend to do some ballistic tests with those. I know one or two people are interested to see how they performed, and I'll try and do that when I get round to it. And one other thing. Oh, that's almost it. I have got it in mind to make a set of 4 mini clamps, really pretty small, as small as I can go to still allow me to use a 3/16 cap screw in a slot to go on my fixture plate. Not long ago I was thinking, how am I going to hold something, and I thought, yes, fixture plate. Then I was thinking about clamps, and small ones, because the plate is small. Small ones should be handy. Anyway, that's it, enough babble. Somebody accused me of too much waffle recently. Yeah, it's one of my faults. Anyway, here we go. A few clips, odds and ends, and I hope it won't be too long before I can get back to doing something substantial like making chips. Thanks again to everybody for subscribing. I'll say bye for now, and thanks for watching. Someone came in the shop the other day, one of the rare days I was out here for a while. I was measuring with this old vernier. I've got a dial indicating version and probably two digitals, but I'm old school. I like analog, and for those of you old enough, you may remember slide rules. So anyway, there's an old English expression teaching grandmother to suck eggs, which basically means telling people something they already know. But it just occurred to me, for the few folks who have an analog vernier, Just a quick reminder as to how you read it. I've set this at an arbitrary point. To give an example, we're working on the inch scale. The same principle applies to the metric. So we're up here at 1 inch. It's not 1.1. We've got 4 divisions, which are 25 thou each, and we're just above the 75 thou, if I can keep my Randy Richard pointer steady. So between 175 and 1.100, we look for coincidence on this scale, right, which is 25 thou. And if this shows enough, I can't focus in much tighter than this. Oh, yeah, can't see what I'm doing. If we look here, we'll see that 1.075 plus 5, 10, 12. That is basically, if I can see it with my crappy eyesight, that should be on the coincident mark there. Apologies if I'm not quite right. Damn. I need some new glasses. Well, I need some new eyes. So, 1 inch plus 75 plus 12. Alright, we'll assume anyway, I'm hoping that's right. 75, 85, 87. So that's 1 inch, 87 thou. Alright, now I say this is, everybody knows this almost, but for the few guys who don't know, this is how you do it. It's not that difficult, but, and I reckon it's accurate to about a thou. Maybe I don't trust things with batteries. I have got, if I can find it, I've got one of these which saves interpreting the analog scale that I was just looking at. But as I say, it may be useful for a few folks. I'm just looking closer here. 10, I think 12 is, it's 12 or 13, it's very difficult to tell. But anyway, that'll give you some idea. Boring to most. Maybe there's 1% of folks who think, oh, how do I use one of those things? You may get one in a box from an auction, and they're nice to use, I think, when you get to my age. Now, before I turn this the right way up, those of you who watched the oil pot 2 episodes, I screwed up on one hole, and I think 2 or 3 people, Pierre included, said, you know, why not drill down through at an angle and get through into the main chamber area. But the reason I didn't was I thought it would probably mess up the outside hole. Instead of being round, it might get ovalized. Didn't like that idea, but equally I didn't like looking at it. So stand by, I'll put in a picture of how it looked at the end of the last video. Alright, now let's turn it up. Lots of reflection. And if I can get in a bit closer. Yeah, this camera's perched. It vibrates. I have to wait for it to settle. Anyway, spot the Bozo hole. At a certain angle it might be visible, I'm not sure. So, small slug of aluminum rod, set up in the chuck, machine off, repolish. Alright, I just thought I'd show that. Oh, is that show? Yes, there you are. There you are, you can just see it. But you've got to look damn hard with the light just right. Otherwise, I don't think it shows. Anyway, to me it was better than an unwanted hole. Alright, satisfies me if nobody else. Now anybody who's been following the Bozo Bash and Keith Rucker's channel, Keith Fenner probably, and Stan, and who is it I saw today mention about this? Anyway, this book was around a lot at the Bash, and I think one or two people got free copies. But anyway, I liked it so much by the look of it because Keith Rucker opened his up. I'm trying to, oh, there you are, there's glare, I've got to avoid that. This is an example page that absolutely got me going. I thought, oh my gosh, yes, that's useful. And these are fairly, I would say, oil-proof pages. They're not glossy, but they seem to have got a slight coating on them. Very useful. My machinery's handbook's about 1955, and it has most of the data I'll ever want. But the thing it doesn't have in it is info on inserts. And the rest of it, well, there's boatloads of info. I've got one or two data books, but I think this will be pretty much the go-to book in the shop. So there you are, guys. I bought this one. I think it was 25 bucks and a bit of shipping, but to me this sort of data, particularly for the inserts, is absolutely invaluable. What's on the back? Conversions. Damn useful. I'm not involved with it, so I only recommend it as a user. Look at that. There's Randy's scribe again. I always freak out when I use that. I've been watching Keith Fenner documenting the build of his roller, the right roller, and he sells kits for those, but you possibly don't realise how much work goes into them, particularly to the finished product. And although I did a video on these quite some time ago, I just thought I'd bring them out again, because if you want something fairly simple, I mean, these will have to go on a, a level surface, but it's aluminum channel, somewhat hacked out in profile, 5/8 I think, I'm trying to remember now, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, 1/2 inch, silly boy. 1/2 inch axles, pins, aluminum spacers, bearings that I had, and they're extremely handy for me. I don't do big scale stuff like Keith, no massive great shafts, but these will take, they'll take round from I think about 1/4, maybe slightly smaller, up to 1 inch, 1.25 inches. Now this is a piece of very messy old drill rod, but they're quite adequate if you're checking for the run out. Haven't checked this piece. All you got to do is to set up your indicator. Alright, if I can remember, I'll put a link to the video. I say they're very simple, really. Crazy simple, but they do the job. And much as I'd like Keith's ones, which have a trunnion, you can go on any different level and they'll still level up on top. But these are worth having, I think. Don't use them much, but they come in handy a few times. A friend of mine in Arizona introduced me a while back. It was actually after I'd done some rather crappy aluminum TIG welding. And anybody who follows me know I'm absolute crap at TIG welding. I haven't really got to the stage of being really proficient. I'm too damn shaky. Anyway, aluminum, as most people know, is not the easiest of things. But Arthur, the guy who, what's that? It's a thicker one. The guy I got these from, he sent me a sample quite some time back, and I tried it. These are 1.5 inches. They originate from diamond ground products, and Arthur's company is FM3 Systems. These are Trimix 16th 332, and they're ground to an incredibly good point. You probably, I doubt if you can see quite the quality of the point. They do an even higher quality one. I think nominally they're quite expensive, maybe compared to a full-length import. I think the 16ths are $2.80 to $3. These are about approaching $5, I think. So they are a bit expensive, but the difference between one of these and any other electrode is quite astonishing. The arc is better behaved and seems to maintain its behavior better. Very pleased with these. Anyway, the main thing is Trimix. That's converted me, absolutely converted me. Try Trimix sometime if you haven't used it already. Finally, in this rather non-machining video, I got these fairly recently, and they weren't actually all that cheap, and I don't think they're brand new, but it's something I've wanted for ages when you're trying to identify various gears and pitches. So on one side of each, you've got, down here you've got 30 dp, 32, 26, 28, and then you go all the way up to coarser stuff like, actually there may be a lot of glare, sorry, it's usually a problem here, 9 dp, circular pitch, full depth, etc. So by using these and Machinery's book or similar, 7 dp, 5, last one I think is 4. Very handy. Not often you need this sort of gauge, but on occasion it's very nice to have. In fact, I've already lent it to somebody once. Should have charged them rental, shouldn't I? I wasn't intending to put a footnote at the end of this, but it occurred to me to mention I've tweaked my logo. Somebody, I think it's about the third person who's done it, they commented and said, your logo will never work because it'll all jam up. Well, yes, I know it would, because it was representative and not literal, but I looked at it and I thought, all right, let's tweak it. So the little logo in the video and my main logo, which you see elsewhere, will now run as a gear train and it won't jam up. So to the few that were worried about it, there you are, it's sorted. Mind you, of course, the stickers I made, the few of them, they've got the old ones, so I dare say anybody who's got one and somebody will come in the shop and they'll look at that and say, oh, well, that'll never work. No, it won't. Anyway, the new one solves that problem. So that's it. Sorry it was a bit of a boring video. Nothing much of real interest, but just sort of keeping the ball rolling, alright? So once again I'll say thanks for watching. Bye for now.